to the table. Stay strong. To the table, to the table. Ain't easy, I can tell. Gotta stay strong, stay strong. Stay strong, stay strong. Ain't easy, I can tell. Gotta stay strong, stay strong. Stay strong, stay strong. To the table, to the table. Ain't easy, I can tell.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Funny Won't Stop podcast. Here's the Funny Stop Comedy Club. I'm here with Chad Zumock, headliner this week, and local man, and as well as Tony Mazur, also a radio. Tony, where are you a radio host at?
I was.
You were.
I have a podcast. Yes.
Oh, now you have a podcast.
I'm podcasting like everyone else.
All right. Well, go ahead and pitch your podcast.
It's called the Check Your Brain podcast, and it's on Patreon and for free every Wednesday. So if you want to go check it out, or don't, it doesn't matter to me.
Now, on top of that, you do one as well together, don't you?
Yeah, we do a podcast together. It's called the Joe Rogan Experience. No, we do a thing called Mondays with Mazur on our Patreons every Monday. Because Tony and I, we like to just talk shit. We can't talk shit anymore. Everyone's offended. And we want to just be able to say what we want to say with no repercussions. And these people want to try to cancel you, ruin your career. So, like, let's just put it behind a paywall. So,
Now, how has that gone so far as doing stuff with Patreon? Has it been lucrative, or is it just kind of...
For me, it basically pays my credit card bill every month. That's about it. But no, it's. Let's be honest here nowadays. Everything is so segmented and fragmented that it's really hard to make money nowadays, like to really live off of, unless you get to a certain status. That otherwise, you're doing a labor of love, which is fine. It's fine with me right now. I mean, I have a day job. I do all that. I do stand up, and then I'll do a podcast whenever my wife goes to bed.
Well, I mean, I have definitely a day job that I haven't been able to quit yet, and I do stand up in the evenings, and I even run my own business on the side for my design company. I mean, Chad is probably the only one here out of us, obviously, who lives off of this comedy.
well, the thing about being a stand-up, it's like there's so much more now. It's not just the stage. So I have like incomes coming in from everywhere. I got comedy incomes, the Patreon, like just residual checks, stuff from like TV shows. Like it's just checks are coming in from everywhere, and that's how I survive.
Now, a lot of this podcast, because it's a very short podcast, it's mainly a get-to-know-you type thing for the club, like to introduce people who don't normally come, who comes here to the club. Now, Chad Zumock here, obviously, he was here. He was born and raised here in Ohio. Went to Kent State, Kent State alum. My wife's a Kent State alum. Where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of Parma, Tri-State Community College. Went to 2 semesters of community college. I made it happen, Dad. Went to college.
I got Stark State.
There you go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Got that Associated Applied Science.
I didn't even get that, so congratulations.
But no, and then so you while you were here, while you were at Kent State, what did you go to Kent for?
I graduated with a general studies major. I never had a direction in college. I was just going to college because you're supposed to go to college. So I declared myself independent when I was 18. Got a shitload of financial aid, and I pretty much was a poor student that played pickup basketball every day. And finally, one day we graduated. We started a public access TV show with my friend Mike Polk, a comic, and it got really popular at Kent. And we were like, let's just do this for a living. And then, it kind of took me to the world of stand-up. I moved out to LA, broke up with a girl, started stand-up, moved back. I think the first time I ever performed here was in 2007. And here I am, I'm back, baby.
Now,
I never left.
I was going to say, as far as doing stand-up comedy here in Ohio, how much of it was a jump-off point from here to, say, moving to LA? Did you do it for a while here, or did you just kind of say, I'm going to go west?
Well, I was in a sketch comedy group called Last Call Cleveland, and we broke up. Well, we quit. I don't remember. We got in a fight. It was like a band. I don't remember. And I moved out to LA for a girl. I started stand-up in LA.
Okay.
So my first year in LA, I was getting stuff I didn't deserve, and I got scared. Because back then, if you didn't have the time, you didn't want to get exposed. Like now, if you fucking got 1,000 or 1 million TikTok followers, it doesn't matter if you have time. But back then, I wanted to work on it, so I came back. And then I started doing The Road from Ohio, and I ended up getting a radio gig from that on WMMS in 2009 for 3 years, and then I went right back to The Road again.
Now, for a while there, the whole persona, you and the sweater vests and stuff like that, is that something that started while you were out in LA, or is it something that you started here in Ohio? Or?
It started in here. The sketch group. Oh, it's Pete. He's saying you're number one. You're number one, Bill.
He loves his own podcast. He does. When Mary Santora did this, he came through, tripped over the light, knocked it over, gave everybody the middle finger, said, fuck this, and we have since actually lost that podcast and never got to be seen by anyone.
So the sweater vest started when I was in Last Call Cleveland. We wore it in a sketch group once, and then I wore it as a good luck charm on stage when I was working to get past the Hollywood Improv, and I got past like my second year in comedy, which is unheard of, and I just kept wearing it, and it became a thing. And then when I got on the radio, it got big, and then I got fired. I wanted to start over, get away from it.
So it was just kind of shedding it like a skin, just getting a fresh start.
I wanted a new me,
because I was kind of wondering where it went from, like as far as because I saw a lot of imagery and pictures of the sweater vest and everything.
Oh, when I was on the radio, I'd perform here, I'd sell it out. People would show up in sweater vests, and like dudes, a bunch of dudes would be. It was so weird. But it took a life of its own, and it was just time to move on. I don't know, it was kind of silly. It was just something.
Now, looking at your Instagram and stuff like that, and a lot of your posts, going back through, you know a lot of interesting people.
I know Tony Mazur from Mondays with
That's
Mazur.
right.
But I see pictures of you and Godfrey. Was that from Public Enemy? Chuck T. How did you meet Chuck T?
That's an interesting story, and one I cherish, because Chuck D is like an idol of mine. I love Public Enemy, and I was on the radio in Cleveland, and I read a story about Public Enemy. They had like a song from like 15 years ago. It was like a B-side that went to #1 in like Britain, because some DJ, the power of the DJ, decided to play because he liked it, and the phone just blew up. But it was a song from 15 years ago, so he put it in rotation. It blew up, went to #1, and I go, why don't DJs and program directors do that for everybody? Like pick the song. So I was in the rebel mode, and I did it at MMS. I slid it in there, and I got written up by the program director for doing that. And the phones blew up again, and the story got back to Chuck D. He was so happy about that. We had him on the show. They didn't call him the Alan Cox show like maybe like once a month, and we became friends from there. And he gave me his phone number, and I backstage concert, and so it was pretty cool. It's a trip when he goes, Chad Zumock. I'm like, how do you know me?
No, because I remember when I saw him, I was like that. Because I was a huge fan of Public Enemy, growing up. And it's just, I find when you start doing stand-up, or you just kind of start living this lifestyle of entertaining, you meet a lot of interesting people. And
it's fun meeting your idols. Like, I don't care about famous. Like, if I met a Kardashian, I want to give a
no, that's what I mean. People that you're like, wow, it's like not only is like I watched this person growing up, or this is like back in March I worked with Michael Winslow.
Yeah, I worked with him,
and he is such a nice guy. And very interesting. I mean, I went with him to set up the sound and stuff before the show, and I'm expecting.
Isn't he the sound?
Yeah, I thought
he's the sound.
He has a whole fucking array of shit that he plugs in and sets up what he does. Like a guitar player with a wah-wah pedal. He has that, but he has like 50 of them.
Does he have that thing that Peter Frampton used to put in his throat? That wah 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 wah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the tube, the verb box, I think it's called. No, but he just has a lot of equipment that he has to set up before he does the show. And I was just expecting to sit there and watch him do his shit and just shut up and be quiet.
So he's like Greg Morton, but without the costume.
Kind of, yeah.
There you go.
He's coming to the funny stuff, by the way. He'll be on here, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, great.
You worked with Greg Norton, right?
It's my first MC week at Hilarities. I worked with Michael Winslow too at the Funny Farm that was the converted Damon's. That's what it was Amon's because the D was burned out.
Yep.
And that's a true story. It was the old Funny Farm in Youngstown. It's no longer there. Well, I'm sure it's somewhere at this point, but it just changed venue so much.
It's a former Brown Round now, without the G, so it's Round Round.
Round, there you go.
But you mentioned having checked his number. Sometimes, have you ever just looked at your cell phone and looked at all the interesting phone numbers that you...
Yeah, Tony and I do it on our podcast. We'll like just pull up weird, interesting people that we know. I think last week I pulled up Alan Ruck. He played Cameron on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But it's like cool. It's just like so fucking weird.
Well, that was like, because I work with Mark Price, Skipping from Family Ties, and at the beginning my wife was kind of geeking out because he would make posts on Facebook, like comment on our kids' pictures and be like, oh, and my wife's like, wow, Skippy from Family Ties is liking and even commenting on our kids' school pictures, and I'm like, yeah, at first it's kind of surreal because these are literally people you watched when you were young.
Here's a funny story. I don't know if I ever told you this. I should save it for... Oh, we can put this on our Patreon.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah, why not?
We'll get to audio. So we were at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony inductions in 2011, was it? The Guns N' Roses, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys. And I was with Jim Florentine, who's going to be at the Funny Stop. And we were backstage, and we were meeting all the Beastie Boys, we met everybody. And Green Day, I'm not a fan of them, but Billy Joe, the lead singer, comes up to Florentine and he's like, I'm a big fan of that metal show, man. He's talking to us, and he's just like, he got us in the corner, we're talking, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm not a fan, but I know who he is. He's like iconic. But he wouldn't leave us alone. He just kept asking Jim questions because he loved rock. And then at one point, we're avoiding the lead singer from Green Day because he's annoying. Like, oh shit, there's Billy Joel, let's go this way. And it got to the point, like, I can't believe we're avoiding the lead singer of Green Day.
It's like shaking that little annoying kid at school. It's like, ah, fuck, here it comes again. And I'm actually a huge fan of Green Day. I saw them the first time they ever performed at Blossom. That was a great concert. I think we set
up Buzzard Fest.
I can't. I just know they were headlining, and at one point they set multiple fires on Blossom's lawn, and like literally like 12 different bonfires were started, and then people were taking people on blankets and snapping them into the air. Have you ever seen that?
No.
You'll get like 20 people around a blanket, somebody will get on it, usually a girl, everybody will grab the blanket, pull it tight, and go like this, and then go flying up in the fucking air like 15 feet in the air. Well, that was going off all over the place. People were getting thrown off the blankets and falling and breaking arms and shit. And then, yeah, it was and then there was a rainstorm and then mud everywhere and people sliding down Blossom's Hill in the fucking mud. Awesome. I think I was literally still in high school at the time. It was fucking great. But no, I just love the stories and things you accumulate by doing this at multiple levels. Obviously, you've been doing it a lot longer than I have, or even Tony, and just the things that you've experienced and accumulated over time.
Yeah, but it's not always positive, too.
It's not.
You'll start meeting some fucking assholes along the way, guys you thought were cool that aren't cool, comics you looked up to, then you hate, radio personalities that you grew up listening to turn on you. It's like...
I'm still jaded because I haven't reached that. I really haven't met anybody who I look like sideways at, you know. At the very least, I've met somebody who I was interested in and they just didn't want to conversate or do anything. So that you leave that person alone, just let them be. But they weren't ever like get the fuck away from me. You know,
right.
So I haven't had that yet, but I can definitely see where you eventually run into a lot of people.
Yeah, that's life in general.
Well, people turn on you. That's what happens. You just get into a situation where they hear something about you, and everybody's trying to climb that showbiz ladder, I guess.
Right.
And if there's somebody that they feel that you're too toxic to be associated with, then they drop off. That's what happens. And we've experienced that in radio and comedy and everything. That hey, he's not the flavor of the day anymore. He can't get me anywhere. So fuck him. Just go somewhere else.
How much of that do you see between younger comics to older comics? When I mean young to old, I'm not just talking about at the time of the time in the game, but age-wise, do you see where like the older comics seem to act a little bit more mature? Can they just be as bad as the younger?
It's pretty. It depends. It's a case-by-case situation.
Because I think I was talking to you about this last night. I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
And just like you, and I just feel kind of beyond dealing with people's bullshit, and even caring about it.
That's a good way of living life. Yeah, it's the way to do it. And so you should do it that way.
Trust me, I guarantee you there's going to be times, down the road where shit's going to get to me. But for the most part, yeah, I just, I started late in life doing this, and I don't feel like I have the time to waste worrying about other shit.
It's a healthy way of doing it. Good for you. Yeah, I wish I applied that to my life.
Well, hey, everybody, thank you for watching this. We got to cut it short tonight because things are getting loud in here. And Chad, thanks for hopping on tonight.
Thanks for having
with us.
Cool.
Check Chad out if you're in Florida.
Thank you. Hi.
Where are you going to be at next after the funny stop here?
I don't know.
But definitely check Chad out on social media. He's got a lot of great shit going on. Join his Patreon.
Thank you.
Get this man some money in his pocket. Keep him doing comedy.
All right. Rock on.
Have a good night.